August 20th, 1911. The Louvre Museum, the largest and most famous art museum in the world, was preparing to close after another busy day. Among the crowd was a short Italian man wearing the Louvre's white worker uniform. He moved through the galleries calmly, but he had entered the Louvre with a very specific plan. Nothing about him looked unusual. He looked exactly like he belonged there. He already knew the Louvre well because he had worked inside the museum before. He understood the building's layout, the employee entrances, and the quiet parts of the museum most visitors never noticed. As the museum prepared to close, the man quietly slipped away from the remaining crowd and disappeared deeper into the building. He entered a small storage closet and stayed there. The next morning was Monday, August 21st. The Louvre was closed to the public that day, which meant only workers and maintenance staff would be inside the building. That gave him an opportunity he would never get during normal museum hours. Around 7 in the morning, he stepped out of the closet wearing the same white uniform. Nobody stopped him. He walked directly toward the Salon Carré, the room where the Mona Lisa hung on display. 1911, museum security was extremely basic. There were no alarms, no motion sensors, and very little protection around important artworks. The painting simply hung on the wall. He lifted it down and carried it toward a nearby staircase away from public view. The wooden frame around it was heavier than expected. Carrying it through the museum would attract attention, so he stopped inside the stairwell and removed the frame completely. Now, the Mona Lisa was exposed. At that moment, if another employee had walked into the staircase, the theft would have ended immediately, but nobody came. He hid the painting underneath his coat and headed toward an exit. Then, he calmly walked out of the museum, carrying the great Mona Lisa painting under his coat. The man who had just stolen the Mona Lisa was a 29-year-old Italian handyman named Vincenzo Peruggia. And for nearly an entire day, nobody realized what he had done. The following morning, the Louvre reopened as normal. Visitors entered the museum. Employees continued their routines. Hours passed before anyone noticed something was wrong. The first person to realize it was missing was a painter named Louis Beroux, who regularly visited the Louvre to study famous artworks. When he entered the gallery, he immediately noticed an empty space on the wall where the Mona Lisa should have been. At first, nobody panicked. Museum staff assumed photographers had temporarily removed the painting. That happened often at the Louvre. But after checking with different departments, nobody could explain where it was. Workers searched nearby rooms. Nothing. Storage areas. Nothing. Then they found the empty frame abandoned inside a staircase. That was the moment the museum realized the Mona Lisa had been stolen. The Louvre immediately shut down. News spread across France within hours. Newspapers around the world covered the story because people could not understand how someone had managed to steal a famous artwork from the Louvre and disappear. The French government faced massive embarrassment. Police launched a nationwide investigation. Train stations were monitored. Borders were watched. Detectives questioned museum employees and searched apartments across Paris. But investigators had one major problem. They had almost no evidence. There were no cameras, no fingerprints, and no clear suspects. Then, the investigation suddenly took an unexpected turn. Police arrested the poet Guillaume Apollinaire because he had previous connections to stolen museum artifacts. During questioning, another famous name appeared: Pablo Picasso. At the time, Picasso was still building his reputation in Paris, but now he was connected to the biggest art theft in the world. Police questioned him aggressively. For a moment, investigators believed they had uncovered a much larger criminal operation involving stolen art. Then, the lead completely collapsed. Neither Picasso nor Apollinaire had anything to do with the theft. Meanwhile, something strange was happening across Paris. The theft itself was turning the Mona Lisa into a global sensation. Crowds visited the Louvre just to stare at the empty space where the painting once hung. Newspapers continued publishing theories about where it could be. Some people believed wealthy collectors secretly bought it. Others believed international criminals smuggled it out of France. But the truth was much simpler. The Mona Lisa was hidden inside a small apartment in Paris. Peruggia kept it inside a wooden trunk for nearly 2 years. While police searched across Europe, the painting was sitting only a few miles away from the Louvre. And Peruggia continued living normally. Every newspaper talked about the theft. Rewards were offered. Detectives chased false leads across multiple countries. But nobody searched his room. Over time, the investigation slowed down. Many people believed the painting would never be recovered. Then, in 1913, Peruggia made the mistake that ended everything. He traveled to Florence, Italy, and contacted an art dealer using a fake name. He claimed he possessed the missing Mona Lisa and wanted to return it to Italy. At first, the dealer assumed it was fake because many people had already tried to scam collectors using copies of the painting. But the dealer agreed to meet him anyway. Inside a hotel room in Florence, Peruggia carefully unwrapped the painting. The dealer immediately recognized it as authentic. After more than 2 years, the Mona Lisa had finally been found. But instead of helping Peruggia sell the painting, the dealer quietly contacted the police. Authorities moved quickly. Peruggia was arrested soon afterward. But what shocked investigators most was his explanation. He claimed he did not steal the painting for money. According to him, he believed the Mona Lisa belonged in Italy and wanted to bring it home. Many Italians supported him. Some even viewed him as patriotic instead of criminal. The Mona Lisa was eventually returned to the Louvre under much heavier security. Before 1911, the Mona Lisa was respected mainly by artists and historians. After the robbery, it became world famous. Check the comments for a hint about the next video. And don't forget to subscribe.